Hey Sunflowers, I'm Lynnie with Sunflower Spirit Tarot, and I am here with a love and relationship reading. The significant signs for this reading today are going to be Leo, Gemini, Aries, and Capricorn. So you don't have to be those signs or have those in your chart in order for this to resonate, but if you do, you're going to feel it a little bit deeper. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and become an official Sunflower. And to all of my returning Sunflowers, welcome back. I'm so happy to have you, and I'm honored for another opportunity to read for you. I hope that this message resonates and gives you the comfort, confirmation, or clarity, whatever it is that you are seeking at this time. We start today's reading with the Lovers and the Nine of Pentacles. I see two very independent people, successful in their own right, living their own lives, doing their own thing, coming together to make this very synergistic relationship. You guys are helping each other grow. You guys are challenging each other. You guys are communicating pretty well. I feel like this relationship is very, very strong. There might be people who don't agree with you guys being together. There might be people on the outside, naysayers, haters, trying to chip away at the confidence that you guys have in each other. But the biggest problem here in this relationship is the element of control. Why do I say that? Because we have the Emperor here at the center of the spread. And I think, to be honest, this represents both of your energies. That is a problem because we can't have two emperors in a relationship, and it's not about the bodies. We're talking about the energy. We can't have two people in control. We can't have two chiefs. We can't have two coaches. We can't have two captains in the relationship. Okay, you guys have to be a team. You guys have to learn how to work together in order to move forward into this place where you have real longevity, because things seemed like they were going really well, and then you started to have tension about who was going to get their way, or who's going to get what they want out of the situation, or who's going to, like, which way we're going to do things, whose vision are we going to be kind of trying to achieve. It's almost like you guys are a little bit competitive when it comes to the specific, like, day-to-day things of your relationship, or the things that are challenging your relationship. It's almost like both of you guys feel like you know better than the other person, and it's not like to put the other person down, and I won't say that it comes from like a super negative place, because it doesn't. It just comes from this place of wanting to keep each other safe, wanting to protect each other, wanting to make sure that both of you guys are secure and safe and never broke again, never hungry again, never suffering again, and never separated. It's this desire to control things that are outside of your control, just to make sure that the relationship stays on track. But there are always going to be things that you can't control. Both of you guys have your own minds and your own ideas and your own desires. I think the question that you have to ask yourselves at this point is, our visions, full and complete, do they align, or can we make them compatible, right? Are there things that I want that I'm not willing to negotiate on? And are there things that they want that they're not willing to negotiate on, that are going to work well together, that we can achieve in harmony without them competing against one another? Okay. I just see you guys both having gotten yourselves to a place of success on your own, on the back of your own choices, on the back of your own decisions, on the back of your own plans, on the back of your own knowledge and wisdom and skills. And so you're taking that same attitude into a relationship, which is fine, as long as you understand that you have to be willing to collaborate. And I think that that's where both of you guys fall short. As much as you guys like each other, have this strong connection, want to be with each other, and feel very, very strong romantic ties to each other, that is going to be the only thing that really puts your relationship at risk, is if you guys can't learn how to concede sometimes, or settle sometimes, or just agree to disagree sometimes, because there are ways in which both of you are quite particular, and that can work if you're particular about the same things in the same way. And sometimes that happens with time. Like, the longer you're in a relationship, there's this kind of natural osmosis that happens between the both of you. So you kind of both become more like the other person. That creates a lot of harmony. That creates a lot of trust. That creates a feeling of being understood and appreciated for who you are. And I feel like both of you guys are just so proud of the people that you've become on your own, that you're not necessarily leaning into the osmosis. You're so worried that your contribution to this relationship, or the contributions that you've made to your own life to get you to where you are going to somehow be erased if you guys decide to, like, just be on the same page. It's okay if you don't always agree. It's okay if you don't always want the same things, but you have to find a way for everybody to get what they need. Okay, let's talk about the Emperor here, please. No, it's got to come out. I'm not taking that. It's got to come out. Let's talk about the Emperor. Queen of Wands, that was actually at the bottom of the deck, and now we have the King of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. So I'm getting a little bit more of an understanding. Okay, I see the feminine being a very passionate person. This is feminine fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, being somebody who knows exactly what they want, exactly who they are, exactly what kind of life they want to live. They're not willing to settle. They're not willing to compromise on the vision that they have for themselves or on the vision that they have for their life. And I understand that. I understand being very determined. You know, you've worked yourself up to this position, just like this person has worked themselves up to this position, right? To be this King of Pentacles. A king and queen are a match, right? But honestly, with the King of Pentacles being at the bottom and the Queen of Wands being at the bottom, coming out to clarify the Emperor, there's, I'm not going to say it's a mismatch or a misalignment, but both of you guys have to understand that you're not the same person. You guys might have a lot of stuff in common. You might like a lot of the same things. You might listen to the same music. You might do a lot of the same things or have a lot of the same interests or hobbies or anything like that. And it's like almost like the ways in which you are different are what's challenging you guys the most, as opposed to celebrating the ways in which you are different and maybe learning a bit more about this King of Pentacles and then learning a bit more about this Queen of Wands. You need to understand that it's more than just being in alignment or compatible with somebody. You have to understand, like, the ways in which you are compatible are beautiful, but the ways in which you are different have to be addressed, and not in a way of it's my way or their way, right? Because it's going to be your way. You guys have to find a way to work together. You have to find a way to work together if you want this relationship to be sustained, because you guys do see the world in inherently different ways. One of you guys values the material, the practical, the career, the legacy, the foundation, and the other person values creativity and passion and emotion and expression and identity and authenticity and all of these things. And these things are not, mutually exclusive. They can come together. They can work together. They can harmonize together, but you got to find a way to mix that up. You have to find a way to get into that. Let's clarify this Five of Wands here. Yeah, we got the Princess of Wands. There's some stuff y'all need to leave behind, and it's creating some sort of drama. Yeah, there's some sort of baggage, some sort of trust issue. Once again, this idea of being erased or having your identity erased. Maybe in the past, there were times where you were in relationship with someone, or this person was in relationship with somebody, and they completely just merged into that person and lost who they were totally, completely merged into that other soul and became codependent to the point where they couldn't operate without that other person. Either you or them or both of you guys have a relationship pattern of doing that, of just completely dissolving yourself, your authenticity, your identity to suit somebody else's needs, to suit somebody else's path. And neither one of you are willing to do that again. That is healthy. That is not an unhealthy thing, but it's the way that y'all are going about it that makes it a little bit, I'm side-eyeing y'all a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because I get it. I understand. But once again, there has to be some sort of natural osmosis that happens. A little bit of you and a little bit of them. The yin and yang symbol, right? There's a little bit of yin in the yang. There's a little bit of yang in the yin. You have to have that in order to have some really good harmony. Leave behind any fears that you have about being manipulated out of your own sovereignty or being manipulated out of your own authenticity, because that will not happen again. Both of you guys appear to me to be very mature, fully fledged adults, doing your own thing, successful in your own right. And this should not feel like a competition. Your relationship should not feel competitive unless you're into that, unless you like challenging each other, but find specific ways to challenge each other. Maybe direct that energy of competition into an actual competition. I don't know if y'all game together, if you run together, if you work out, or if you are both in the same field. It doesn't look like it, but I'm just saying, find a way to channel that competitive spirit that both of you seemingly have in order to fulfill that, because you don't want to be lying in bed next to somebody who you feel like is never really on your team or never really on your side when it comes to the really important things. Okay, let's talk about this Five of Swords here. I want to warn you guys and caution you guys against making any kind of ultimatum. Any kind of I'm putting my foot down is going to be resisted. Any kind of this is just how it's going to be, this is the way it's going to work, is going to be resisted. I'm just telling you that right now. We got the Seven of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles coming out for this Five of Swords. The Five of Swords, I'm going to show y'all that card too. The Five of Swords is an energy of it's either my way or the highway. Either you're in or you're out. And there's no exceptions. There's no exclusions. You have to choose right now. This is the ultimatum. Okay. We're not making any ultimatums because it's going to be resisted. It's going to be rejected. Somebody's going to feel some type of way about it, and it's going to put you guys in a situation where you feel more depleted and exhausted. This is what I'm talking about. That competitive spirit coming up against each other. Both of you guys always trying to get your way. I don't know if it's more one of you than the other person, because I do feel like both of you are very strong, independent individuals, and it could be more one than the other. But what I need to see here in order for you guys to continue to thrive, because this is the future energy we're talking about. Somebody's thinking about putting down some ultimatum, potentially even the ultimatum of like, we need to get married or something like that, locking something down, or we need to have children with the Queen of Pentacles coming out right now. Like, we need to do this now. Trying to control every aspect of the relationship, trying to control exactly how it unfolds or exactly what happens at what time is going to lead to misery. And both of you guys will be suffering as a result. I'm not saying that you're going to break up. I'm not saying that you aren't going to make it. But what I will say is, if you or this other person continues trying to push ultimatums or push control or push to get their way, it's going to eat away at this once really lovely and healthy relationship. I understand that sometimes it's hard because you feel like you have to establish, this is who I am. You have to conform to me just as much as I conform to you. But are either one of you really bending? I think logically you both understand that it requires sometimes you're going to have to compromise, and somebody's going to have to bend a little bit more than the other person sometimes. I think what you guys are afraid of is not only being erased or having your identity erased within this relationship, but it's also setting a precedent for conceding, like setting the precedent for saying, okay, we'll do it your way. Okay, we'll do it your way. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Nobody wants to end up in that yes, dear space. And you don't have to end up in the yes, dear space. The only thing that can save you from the yes, dear space is communicating your needs and your desires as they grow, as they change, as they evolve, and allowing that person to address them in the way that they see fit, not the way that you think is best, not the way that you think it's going to work out, not the way that they think it should be done, right? Has to be this understanding that you can't, as much as you guys aren't necessarily molding each other, you're basically trying to condition each other to accept that I'm in charge. But I think that you both need to understand that we're in charge. There needs to be more we and less I. There needs to be more operating as a team. You know what? This would actually be really good for you guys. If you guys did something together as a team, maybe like competed against other couples in some kind of a sport or some sort of like board game, it doesn't matter what it is. You guys should start competing as a team or doing something that requires you to perform as a team outside of your home, outside of your relationship. Do something that really stretches that muscle, because I think that's really going to shed the most light on whether this is compatible for a long-term relationship or not. I think that if you guys can figure out how to come together as a team outside of the home, outside of your relationship, then it shouldn't be as difficult to bring those stories, those lessons, those understandings back to your relationship. There's a desire for you guys to go back to this kind of dream state where it was like rose-colored glasses, but those are off, and we're done with that. There's no more of the, I don't know what I'm seeing phase, and I'm just going to go with the flow and do whatever phase. You guys both ripped those band-aids off pretty quick and pretty harsh. So if you want this relationship to last the test of time, which I feel like it could, you got to let go of the desire to have everything your way, you or this person or both of you guys. This is what I have for you. I hope that this was helpful or enlightening in some way. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I will see you next time.